Is this good? Okay. Let me paint you a picture. A woman moves into her dead grandmother's mansion where a conventionally attractive man stalks her and insults her in her own mansion. However, despite all this, the two then move on to have a multitude of romantic and spicy moments. By the way, did I mention that this man kills for a living? Now, let me ask you this. Does that sound like a healthy relationship to you? Good. Well, what I just explained to you is essentially the plot of Haunting Adeline, the most prominent book in the of the dark romance genre. Dark romance, to say the least, is a disturbing genre of romance that typically romanticizes dark, serious topics such as stalking, violence, murder, and sexual assault, usually marketed towards women. But the thing about that is half the time it's being marketed towards the wrong audience, a young audience of. I turn it off. I am so sorry. A young audience consisting of young teenage girls. If they're exposed to this kind of traumatic content while their brains are just still developing, it could negatively affect them in their later years of living. If these kinds of books could affect a whole generation of young girls, surely they would have a good age restriction policies to stop younger audiences from purchasing said books. Well, they don't. In fact, most books with 18 plus content don't, and that needs to change. But in order to completely understand the direness of the dark issue, we'll be discussing the main problem with dark romance, what's causes said problem, and what action can be taken to further prevent the same problem from happening. To start us off, the main problem with dark romance novels is that not only are they dangerous, but they're also easily accessible to young audiences. According to C. Langworth, okay, good, I didn't turn it off. According to C. Langworth on supported.com, the overconsumption of graphic sexual content can change how someone views women, damage young women's health and identity, create unrealistic standards for relationships, and lead to dangerous behavior. With all that in mind, it should be crystal clear as to why young teens shouldn't be able to get their hands on this type of content. It negatively affects the way they think and about relationships and themselves. It's dangerous. That's not all. From the parenting blog mobisip.com, teens can easily come across violent and sexual material through pop-up ads, scrolling through social media, and even by simply Googling it, whether they're actively looking for it or just so happen to come across it while searching for it else for something else. Why is it so easy to get your hands on this kind of content? Why can adolescents so easily look up graphic content on social media and the internet? Why hasn't much been done to stop it? As we have just discussed, this is a very serious problem that can negatively affect the minds of teenage girls. So it should obviously be taken more seriously. But what's causing this? Why do they feel so compelled to buy these books? For my second point, the cause of younger folk buying dark romance novels can be found within their promotion on social media, more specifically, book talk. For those who don't know, as told by UnchainedMusic.io and ChartAgency.com, both sites recently updated, TikTok has over 1.6 billion users, 1.6 billion active users, with over 25% of global users being between the ages of 10 and 19, almost dominating the platform. And that 25% is a huge chunk of teens and preteens that are at risk of being exposed to content on TikTok that they shouldn't be seeing, such as videos containing triggering content and, or more relatively, recommendations for dark and or hypersexualized romance books that, again, they shouldn't be seeing. Written by social media strategist Kim Townend on Musican.io, by January 3rd, 2024, the date it was published, US and UK book talk have gotten more into spicier romance books, more specifically dark romance. The genre being it's a pointer. The genre being the third most popular. I'm sorry, just sometimes. Being the third most popular among the people of book talk and the fourth most popular among the people in the UK. With this information in mind, you now know that dark romance genre is not safe for work content is growing in popularity, meaning that it's more likely to be recommended in book talk videos that could influence younger people buying them, making the previous statement of there being a large audience of young teens on TikTok more relevant, or social media in general. Now that we know where the source of the problem is coming from, let's take a look at what I think would be a good potential solution to help fix it, or at least lessen the load. I believe that the best solution to this dark problem would be stricter community guidelines on social media as well as age restrictions on 18-plus books. Community guidelines on social media are a set list of guidelines listing subjects that aren't allowed in videos, images, and even behavior. The most common guidelines denying violent or sexual content, harassment, threats, and discrimination, and authenticity and spam. Recorded by Karnik, by karnikgeneendowment.org. I'm so sorry, I don't know that. Community guidelines on social media were made to protect others from, well, seeing distasteful content, which, if sensitive content warnings that they put on videos and images are utilized correctly, could help younger audiences from viewing dark, disturbing, spicy book reviews and potentially being enticed to go buy them. On another note, kids are influenced by what they see and hear. So entertainment companies use age rating systems to give parents more information about the type of content included in entertainment media and make informed choices on what content their kids consume, as told by pediatricweb.com. Companies implemented age ratings for a reason, to help parents protect their kids from viewing content they shouldn't be seeing. If age ratings can be added on TV shows, video games, and movies, why not books? Wouldn't parents benefit from also knowing what type of content can be found and what their kids are reading? With solutions like this, we could no longer have to worry about the wrong audience getting a hold of this type of dark, twisted content. Today, we discussed the concerns behind dark romance and the equally concerning accessibility young audiences have to it, what Book Talk is doing to fuel that problem, and how better age restriction policies and content community guidelines can lessen severity. It's honestly disturbing how this subgenre of romance has so much graphic and sexual content, and yet a teen is able to have easy access to them, whether it be through their local bookstores or the internet. But what's more disturbing is how there isn't much being done to actually do something about it. If these kinds of books have serious potential to negatively impact a whole generation of young teens mentally, and we need to start doing something about it soon before they do. Otherwise, who knows what will happen in the future. So in the future, if for some reason you want to read a dark romance book with an abnormally long list of concerning trigger warnings and a lack of an age rating to keep teens away from said book, don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth traumatizing yourself over, even if you think you can handle it. Thank you for listening to me.